series of 4 videos that is a stretching sequence for the hips and the hamstrings. So they're meant to be done in order. The first one, this one, is standing. The second one will be seated. The third one will be supine or lying on the back. And then the fourth one is going to be at the wall. So you can mix and match these if you want, or just do one. But just make sure that your muscles are warmed up before you do any intense stretching. Okay, so if you start with the final video, for example, make sure that you really warm up first before you do that. So let's get started with our standing sequence. So we're going to start with some warming up, just some loose warming up by swinging the leg in the hip socket. And you can hold on to a wall for this because we're not really worried too much about form. We just want to swing the leg back and forth just to warm up the hip here. So just take a few breaths and just loosely swing. Good. And then we'll do the other leg. Just really let it go. Nice and easy. Good. And then just to get warm a little bit more, we're going to do some hip swing circles. So I'm going to have you stand nice and wide. And we're going to start by just taking a lunge towards the right. Sorry, I'll mirror you, so towards your right. And then you're going to take your right leg, swing it across the body, and plop back down into your lunge. So right leg comes in and swing, in and swing, in and swing. You can see I'm bringing the arm with me, but if that's giving your brain a bit of a short circuit, just leave the arm either to the sides or on the waist. Good, couple more. Last one. Good. I'm going to step off my mat. Turned out not to be the best idea on the mat. Good, so let's do the other side. So this time, lunge to your left, and in and out. So you can see you're making a big circle with your thigh, right, as you come in. Okay, 2 more. Good. And then keeping your legs wide, we're going to just do some pliés in second position. So turn out your legs, rotating from the hips. Just put hands on the waist. Squeeze the booty, long in the abdominals. And then bend, opening your thighs like this, knees over toes. Big stretch down and up. Inhale. Exhale. Good, keep the chest lifted. Press those thighs open. You can even use your hands on the inner thighs. Good, last one here. Good. And walk the leg in We're going to come up into some knee folds. So just hugging one knee into the chest. You can hold it under the thigh or the front of the shin and just hug it up towards the chest. So a bit of a balance challenge here as well. Good. Shoulders relaxed, stomach engaged, and lower. And do the other side. Inhale, and gently squeeze that in. Using your biceps, not your shoulders. And just let the hips soften. Good. And carefully release. Next, moving into a quad stretch, so stretching the front of the hip. You're going to bend your knee, bringing your heel in towards your booty. Grab hold of the front of the foot. Again, if you'd like, you can use the wall to help balance. And once you've got a hold of your foot, you want to drop the hip down. So if you look down, your thigh is in line with your hip, and your leg isn't forward of the hips or behind the hips or to the side. So straight down under that hip. And if you're not feeling the stretch, lift your pubic bone up. Chest is lifted, shoulders relaxed. Good. One more breath here. And then carefully release. Just do a little shake. And we'll take the other side. So bend the knee, heel to the bum. Find your posture here. Knee under the hip. Shoulders relaxed. And if you're not feeling that in the front of the thigh, just lift the pubic bone. Or some people find the image of tucking the tailbone under helps. And we'll take a few breaths here. Feeling the ribs expand. Inhale and exhale. Good. And then carefully release, nice and slow with control. Good. So we're going to come into a little sequence now, made famous by the sun salutation. So we're going to come into a forward bend, then into a lunge, then into downward dog, back to lunge, back to forward bend. So when you're ready, you're going to come to a standing position, legs hip width apart. And we'll just begin with a nice breath in. And then as you exhale, coming into forward bend. Now remember, it's fine to bend your knees. You want to make sure you keep your spine as straight as you can. So if you have to bend your knees to keep your spine straight, then go ahead and do that. Good. And from here, we're going to step back into our lunge. So let's step the right leg back. Just imagine us in a train track. And step it back, and then hands come under the shoulders. And feel free to adjust if you need to walk your front foot forward a little. You can try sliding forward and back a bit, just to sort of get into that hip, kind of scoot down and back up. Good, take another breath here. I'm going to show you two ways to get to downward dog. The easier way is to lower your back knee, come into a hands and knees position, tuck your toes under, and then lift into downward dog, which is just a piped position. Or you can come straight from lunge into downward dog. And here, again, try to keep your back straight. For some people, you need to have the knees a little bent in order to straighten the back. So just be mindful of that. Shoulders away from the ears. Good. And then we want to come into the lunge with the left foot back this time. So that means we're stepping the right foot forward. So you can either come back to hands and knees and then go into the lunge, or just step right into the lunge from downward dog. And again, you can slide forward and back a little, scoop the hips down and up, and then settle into your stretch for a couple breaths. And I should mention too, if this is difficult, you can use yoga blocks to hold yourself up in the lunge if you find getting your hands on the ground challenging. Good, and we're going to come back to our forward bend, step up with a big exhale. And we're going to take a few more breaths here, really working those hamstrings. So some fun ways to keep this interesting is to do some bends and stretches. So inhale, relax and bend. Exhale, strong abdominals, strong legs. Inhale, soften. Exhale, press through the feet, hug the abdominals up. Really work that stretch. One more time like this. Inhale. Exhale. Good. And then we're going to come up to triangle. So that's a forward bend with the back parallel to the ground. And from here, also we're going to play around with our breath. So inhaling, long spine and triangle. Exhale, slide down. Inhale, abdominals lift you up to triangle. Exhale, slide down. Inhale, up to triangle. Last time, exhale, slide down. Good. And then we're going to come all the way up. Inhale. And exhale, release your arms. Good. And give the body a little shake. Good, we're almost done. We're just going to do some wide poses now with the legs nice and wide. So take them as wide as you're comfortable doing. And we're going to take some side lunging. So in yoga, we're going to do warrior one and extended side, or sorry, warrior two and extended side angle. So we're going to start by turning the right foot to the side. So you're just going to put your weight on the ball of the foot and pivot your heel in. And if you were to draw a line from that heel, it should line up with the center of your other foot, so the center arch. So if I were to come closer, it would make like a little T. So we're going to take that nice and wide. And the wider you take it, the more of a stretch you'll be able to get, because you'll be able to go lower and get more into the hips. So lift your arms up to the sides. And then when you're ready, you're going to lunge to the right, knee over ankle, and both feet pressing into the mat. And if you're not feeling enough of a stretch, just try walking that foot forward. And for warrior two, the hips face forward and the head just turns to the right. Good. One more breath here. And then side angle, we bring the forearm to the knee. Arm can lift up to the ceiling, or if you want a more intense stretch in the side, you can reach it overhead. Just make sure you're not hugging the shoulder up towards the ear. And again, just check on your legs. See my knee was sneaking back, so you want to try to keep it over the ankle. And then re-engage, reinvigorate your legs. Bring that toe forward and forward bend, wide angle. You can use a block here if you'd like for your hands. Again, just like all our forward bends, try to keep the back straight and bend the knees as you need to keep that back nice and straight. Bending the knees also will bring it more into the hips. If you bend the knees here and sort of drop the hips, you'll feel it more in the hip joint than in the hamstrings. So you can play with going back and forth between those two positions. Good. And then when you're ready, we're going to walk the feet in a little bit, soften the knees, hands on the thighs, and come up nice and slow. Take your time. Just take a little break from the wide leg pose. And then step back out and we'll do the other side. So left heel pivots in. Just check the alignment here. Hips forward, arms up. And exhale, warrior two. Keep those legs lively. Good. And then into side angle, hands or forearm down to the thigh. Good. Knee over the ankle. And the upper body here, I forgot to mention before, does a bit of a twist so that you're twisting up and away. Good. Exhale, press back, toes forward. We're going to come into some squats here. So coming back into your forward bend. And then we're going to shift your weight to the right and just walk yourself down. And this position is a little funny to find at first, so just play around with the position. But you want your heel folded right underneath you and then your opposite leg stretched out, foot flexed. And what you're going to find is you can stretch by bending forward a little, and you'll feel it more in the hamstring. Or you can really focus on pushing this leg open like we do in our plie, and you'll feel it a little more in the hip. Good. And then carefully find your hands to help you. Walk back up and all the way over to the other side. Legs nice and open, turned out. Good. One more breath here. And then walk yourself back. Walk your feet together. And then just drop down into a regular squat. And let your knees open again. You can adjust so that you're on the balls of your feet, your knees are wide. And I find it's nice to sort of put your elbows on the inner thighs and just use them to help press your thighs open as you hinge forward at the hips. So this is a really nice deep hip stretch. Good. And you can hold that one for as long as you want. Then bring the knees forward and come back up to standing. And that's the end of our standing sequence. So if you want now, you can go on to the seated sequence. See you next time.